Hi everyone. So we are going to talk about the revision part of the human resource management or people in business. Here we're talking about the first lesson I was talking about the importance of good communication in business. When we talk about the communication in business, every organization, communication is very vital important for an organization's successfulness. Here we are talking about the nature of communication, the difference between internal and external communication, importance of good communication, and the barriers, the methods of communication with the benefits and limitations. So we talk about the different communication things. We have communication in order to fulfill the communication. There is a path, there is a sender, there is a receiver, there is a mood, and there is a medium. Right. So everything you can see the sender is there in every communication given by the sender, and then is compiling a message, and that message should be sent using some kind of a medium, and then there should be a receiver, and then the receiver can give some kind of feedback to the sender, that is he got the message and noted or something. So there is a main element of the communication process is these four: sender, message, receiver, and feedback. So communication can be take place in different formats. So we're talking first one is a downward communication. Like most of the organization, downward is very common. There are managers giving information and instruction to the subordinates, like going downward. That's called downward communication. So it is important because subordinates take their instructions from the managers and leadership, the guidance, everything. Therefore, 80%, 90% of the communication organization is downward communication, right? That's going from top to bottom. The opposite side of a downward communication is the upward communication. You can see where the decision making actually you are taking the not instruction, you are taking kind of a information, the feedback from the bottom level of the organization. So sometimes it can be request from the employees to a manager, it can be request kind of a thing. Sometimes help they're asking from managers to understand the views. Sometimes they make managers aware of some problems, kind of like giving some notice in something, and help staff to feel that they are valued, and provide managers with information to help make decisions like that. So this is upward communication. And there are other communication channels like horizontal communication, the communication which take place among the same level of the people, like manager to manager, executive to executive, junior executive to junior executive, like that, employee to employee, like that. It's the same level. It's happening called horizontal communication. Okay, and we talk about this horizontal and vertical communication. These are communication paths. After we talk about the mainly the other classification of communications and internal and external. Internal communication means within the business, if you do something, that is internal communication, like giving warning to subordinates, board meetings sometimes, and then external communication is whether you are giving exchange information with the outsiders, third party, that's called external communication. Now they talk about formal communication and informal communication. These are division of communication. Divisions. Formal means there is a particular date, time, location, everything fixed. Use recognized channels and communicate. And there are informal means use non-approved channels like gossips, we can say, like meeting outside the working, and clubs and sports clubs and church and social clubs, they're meeting and talking. Families are very close friends, they have different department, like a kind of a connections and cliques. Groups, workers started together and trained together, they can have some cliques. So they might communicate informally, these things. So the importance of communication in business is because everything is depending on communication, because if communication is actually not perfect, mistakes can occur. Mistakes can occur, misunderstandings can happen. As a result, mistakes will be very costly also. Like when you miss a customer's order, that can be a mistakes. And also cost will increase, cost will rise. Like construction project delay is like a breakdown of communication. Sometimes as a result, financial contribution, financial commitment, financial penalties have to pay, and staff motivation will be suffer, like they will become more like a dull and demotivated because of the lack of communication between the management and the staff, and also decision making slows down. These are the bad things can be happen of the having the difficult communication. Therefore, effects of poor communication, there are four effects of communication. There can be more, but you can see this is the main effects of poor communication. And we talk about the methods of communication such as face-to-face, like we can do interviews with people, we can have market research, questionnaires, we can have interviews like face-to-face interviews. So give some kind of a candidate example, interview situation, training situation, dealing with customers. At a presentation, you have to meet them face to face. So advantage of face-to-face is allow immediate feedback, encourage cooperation, and allow new ideas to be generated and saves time. And disadvantages may be negative body language may be create a barrier. Record of the message may not be kept. Non-relevant information may be included. Some people may not listen in interview sometimes. These are the bad things. Sometimes, some limits of the number of weeks. Sometimes there are number of limits in the capacity of meeting room like that. So there are face to face, there are advantages and disadvantages. Quick feedback is the most important thing. Like face to face, you can just quickly ask the information, quickly clarify that information. Other one is a written communication. Written communication methods are mainly letters, right? Letters, like so many letters are there, communication correspondence method. And reports. Report means something a detailed communication method, like central bank report, United Nations report, World Bank report, IMF report, like that. Reports are in detail things like a compile, like a structured and very time consuming thing to analyze. Memorandums or memo, shortened form, we call short written notes are normally passed down in organization to communicate small important matters. Forms are there, like a casually they have to fill the forms in an organization, like a form filling. Application forms are there, sometimes order filling forms are there. So many forms are there, like license form and the application forms. Different formats are there, formats to fill before you do something, especially in a private sector and public sector, both like banks. If you go to deposit some money, there's a form is there, like a money cash deposit slip is a kind of a formats are there. And then notice board is another common method. We can see so many, especially academic institutions like universities and schools. Notice board is very popular. You can pass the message to a wide audience, but however it can be become untidy and open to abuse and often like overlooked. So it's out of that. Right. So basically, that's the communication methods design. So we talk about the what is the importance of communication. We talk about. Let's talk about the other method, electronics method, such as email method. I think if you have everyone are using email, such as Google accounts are there, Gmail accounts or Yahoo or whatever, email systems are really important to send the information. So as a result of email, the letter correspondence system actually stopped because postal service actually been they have released so much of their workload because of the email system, because quick and easy content you can pages you can send from one person to another person easily, and then even the video clip, even some sound, music, everything you can send email. So it's very common and very cheap and economic method of using the communication. Internet is a very good important electronic method of communication. Internet means like there are so many apps you can develop, like platform. It can be a social media. It can be internet like a displaying like a shopping site, market products like a shopping site like Alibaba, like AliExpress, eBay, and Amazon, something like that. That also internet, and allow customers to buy with the credit card, debit cards. You must have some platform, payment platform like. PayPal or something, provide general information about the history and nature of the business, advertise jobs to people inside the outside of the business, and also obtain information about other companies and products for market research, obtain information about potential suppliers, and deal with customer queries online. This is the advantage of the internet. And because the mobile phones usually valuable method of communication for business. They are usual like when employees work away from the office or move around frequently. Like mobile phones are really important. I think everyone have mobile phone, smartphones. So even for smartphone, you can access to internet, access to the internet. So many facilities are there. It's a communications device and multi-purpose device. So mobile phone they are using for several things. Like for example, it can be a video recorder, it can be a camera, it can be a notebook, it can be a calculator. Sometimes it can be alarm for sometimes. Like so many facilities are using mobile phone. It's like a comprehensive, like a package, like a mobile phones are using these days, not only for communication, for everything actually. So social media, when you're using that method, that is the main actually the turning point of the communication system culture is social media. Like starting with the Facebook, right, and then we have WhatsApp, Instagram, everything owned by one company, right? And the other methods of social media, you can see Twitter, and then you have other methods such as Instagram. It can be YouTube, it can be TikTok, or there are so many social media platforms are there. Some of the social media platforms are very addictive. So a lot of people are using social media in order to connect and regulate, mainly like a share their information, and people put likes and comments and everything, social media. So it's one fine method. So much of database is there in the social media. A lot of, because billions of people are using social media, and there can some privacy issues also can be happen as a result. Another one is intranet. Internet and intranet, two different meanings. Intranet is like sometimes you are using inside the organization, like a kind of a dedicated network inside the organization department linked together. Video conferencing, teleconference is another method that we are using, like a conferencing, like a Skype. It can be a Zoom, it can be a Google, groups, and then like different methods are there. Video conferencing, teleconferencing methods. People can communicate like this. The other one we talk about the PA, or sometimes called public address system, sometimes they call it tannoy. So these systems, like where the loudspeaker systems are using in public areas such as airports, such as railway stations, sometimes bus halls, inside sometimes factories, hotels, and large stores to pass information to staff or customers. And electronic notice board is another thing, PA system, like a communication messages, pictures, electronic notice board. You can see using a driving in a highway, you can see that electronic notice board systems are there. Slow down, right? Maximum speed should be this limit, speed limits, warning signs, everything is there. No electronic notice board, and also railway stations, and also the departure arrival times of the airports. Same thing, electronic notice board, right? So as the first lesson that we talk about the communication part. Okay, let's go to the other lesson that we talk about the next in this revision program. So our second lesson I'm going to talk about right now is the barriers of communication. So communication, there can be a barrier. So we're talking about these three elements. What are the barriers? What are the problems coming from this ineffective communication, and how to communication barriers can be removed, how to avoid the barriers. These are the main methods that we're going to discuss today. Barrier communication, the barrier should be removed, and we have to find out what are the types of barriers. So you can see the importance, the barriers of communications are, these are the barriers. You can see lack of clarity, technological breakdown, poor communication skills. Skills, it can be like a verbal skill, it can be like sometimes verbal or like a speaking, it can be writing skill, it can be reading skill, whatever. So skills, if you lack of skills are there, then it can be a problem for the communications. But there is a method to, in order to, if you want to take a skill, you can take a course, right? You can take a instruction, you can take some kind of like a training program you can undergo, and then you can then get the skills, like a language skill, right? If you want to learn, let's say Japanese, you can take a Japanese course like that. And sending message in anger, sometimes attitude problems also. In communication, it will be a barrier. Sometimes jargon is using kind of a vocabulary that is cannot be understood by people in a specific group. That's the jargon. So sometimes only certain people can understand, but outsiders cannot understand. So that's another thing, which is barrier to communicate. And then distraction sometimes can be a barrier. Sometimes it can be a machine sound, noise from machine can be a distraction. Business culture can be a distraction sometimes. The culture of the business. That sometimes they are generally like a communication skills, poor communication sometimes develop, that cultures can be developed in organization. Long chain of command, too many layers in the organization can be actually part the slow down the communication. Using wrong medium sometimes it can be a barrier to communication, like using wrong medium. If you want to give a confidential information, it's better to give face to face. But if you are using telephone to tell that information, will be a problem. And then sensitive information, those things must be very careful. You have to communicate to the employees. So I will see how to different like a cultural barriers, countries and languages. These things also can be cultural barriers, or the language barriers. So what are the problems arising from these things? You can see problems in ineffective communication. As a result, company with the, they say if you have a good communication, they say companies which good internal communication, they can enjoy like better financial returns. It's another advantage of having good communication. So employee commitment, employee motivation can increase. Employee motivation, because they will be more committed to the business. And they say USA 70% of the employees are not engaged in their work as a result of ineffective communication. So that means you can engage more people into the work. So these things, and we'll see how to avoid the barriers of communication. So barriers of communication can be avoided by using these techniques. First one, recruitment stage. You can recruit a person who know everything, like a well qualified and also well dedicated and skillful person, talented person out of the. That is about your selection and training facilities. You can provide a good training opportunity for them, like to gain the skills that they don't know. And written communication, you can improve a really good written communication, like forms and everything can fill templates you can design, and they can store it easily that people only can use the templates. We can tell them to fill and come like that. Technology you can use like without using like memos and notice board and everything. You can replace easily by using WhatsApp group. You can easily replace those things by using the like a you can send like emails or WhatsApp messages or like a Instagram, or you can use social media thing, messenger system quickly. Technology you can use, and you can use a face-to-face communication method, like you can use apps like Zoom and Google meetups and everything. You can arrange those facilities and video conferencing things, Skype and everything. And chain of command you can reduce the layers of the organization, number of people. Social events you can gather because these are the cultural problems and these are the barriers. Social events can be organized. They will be more uh, comfortable with everyone. Cultural change can do if there's a particular like a barrier to communicate. You can change the culture. You can change the leader. You can change the system. So that can be done. If there's sometimes leaders not allow anyone to talk in the organization, sometimes you can change the leader, change the manager, and then that will be then easily anyone can access, anyone can easily freely talk to the authority, and then as a result more productivity can be uh, there. Culture change, so that's the second part of the lessons is cultural and the communication barriers can be removed like that way. Okay, let's go to our next discussion. We talk about our third revision lesson today is the recruitment and selection. In this lesson we talk about the mainly different types of employment we are going to understand, like full-time, part-time, job share, casual, seasonal, and temporary. And we are going to understand the different recruitment documents such as job description, job specification, application form, curriculum vitae. And we are going to understand internal and external recruitment methods like job advertisement, shortlisting, and interview methods. We are going to understand mostly those things. And also, so you can see recruitment and selection thing. Here, types of employment. We talk about mainly there are four types of employment, like full-time employees. So be a full-time employees, they have to work 48 hours per week, right? Don't forget 48 hours per week. Be a full-time employee, have to work all the facilities, privileges, everything you can entitle for the full-time employee because he's working continuously for the organization. Second one is a part-time employees, part-time workers in organization. Keep in mind, not be less than 30 hours. Right? There is no specific number, but it might be less than 30 hours. Right? It should be less than 30 hours part-time workers. So that also includes the flexibility of the workers, part-time workers, because some people they prefer to work part-time, not full-time. Some they want to work like 4 hours a week, 4 hours in a day. Job share is another thing. Job sharing, but a full-time, full single post, we can share among different people, and then as a result, they can arrange and suit the employees who want to reduce their working hours. They can reduce as a result of that. Then we call shift system, right? One shift, second shift, night shift, and day shift. Other types of employment you can see like casual employees. Yeah, they have they do not have any guaranteed work because sometimes you call like a 0 hour contract. Casual workers, like if you have any like a party or something, then you can call them and come. Okay, we need more extra hospitality workers. Like seasonal employees also like that. Particular season, if you have high demand, you can call them and engage in the work. Temporary employment, like we can talk about in particular things like sometimes doctors, sometimes lawyers, sometimes consultants, sometimes can be those like a people who are not just to cover like a shadow workers. Sometimes temporary employment opportunities you can see. Temporary means like a shadow workers for an organization like that. So these casual employees are the mean like as I told you, the 0 hour contract people like doctors, lawyers, consultants, and the other people who actually casually work in the flexible working staff in the organization, right? Volunteers and no recruitment. You have to do because of these reasons, because the business expanding, we have to recruit more people. When people are leaving, we have to replace those people. When positions become vacant due to promotions, we have to recruit someone. People are required for a temporary period to cover the staff absence or to maternity or paternity leave. That's another reason for recruitment. So stages in the recruitment process also we discussed. These are the main stages of recruitment. Vacancy, find the vacancy, number of staff needed. Then you have to prepare the job description and person specification. You got JD and PS. JD is the one who actually describes the job. PS or person specification is the one who describes the person. And then you have to advertise the, in proper media, evaluate the applications and shortlisting part, and then you have to carry out the interviews from the shortlisted people and find out the best person, appoint the best candidate, and then provide feedback for unsuccessful candidates. This is the steps of the recruitment process. Right. In the recruitment document, there are two documents are there: job description and person specification. As I told you earlier, it's a part of the job advertisement. If you refer the job advertisement, there are job description. From the name itself, you can see it describes the job. Task, duties, and responsibility. We call TDR, task, duties, and responsibilities. And person specification give the specified the personal qualities, QESA, qualities, experience, skills, and attitudes. QESA. So these are given by the advertisement in the job description and person specification. So after you prepare advertisement like this, you can actually advertise it on online or in a social media, or it can be newspaper. And at the end, you have to give kind of there are methods of collecting CVs applications. One is application form. You can say you can download this application form from the internet and provide. This is given by the organization to fill for the organization, the candidates who are expecting to apply for the job. So you have to fill these basic thing: name, address, details of education, employment history, other relevant experience, qualification, everything. And other document CV. Sometimes without filling the application form, you can send the CV, curriculum vitae, or resume. So can send to the directly for the organization. By you can set up that, you can design your own CV and you can set it up and you can send it to the management CV. So as a result, you can actually give more information, more detail than they expect, and you can market yourself. You can give more information about yourself. So those are recruitment thing, and we'll talk about the other one, mainly the internal external recruitment methods. So people can be recruited internally as well as externally. Internally, call like a internal is the advantages. It is cheaper. Method is economical because savings are there, cost savings in advertising. Internal recruits are familiar with the company policy and working practices. Staff will be more motivated if they know there is a chance of promotion. The ability, personality, attitude, and the potential of the person appointed will be more predictable. As a result, internal communication, internal recruitment, we know the person. Therefore, no need to give induction training, right? Those things. However, external recruitment can give more ideas. It's main advantage. You can get large pool of applicant potential people you can have, and you can select the best out of them. So talented people, like fresh ideas, we can gather. Look at the methods of attracting applicants for a job. Headhunting. Headhunting means like you are taking the employees from other rival organization to your organization. Word of mouth application, you can talk all people like without advertising. You can from the contacts, you can word of mouth, you can recruit people from the others contacts. Employment agencies through you can actually recruit people specialized to help recruit and staff the business. And also direct applicants, you can actually have like a direct applicants are there in the organization business. You can attract directly the applicants, the applications you can go through. Some people are apply just without any advertisements. Also, they just apply to the certain post. So sometimes if it's qualified and there's a vacancy, you can call them. There are job centers are there in the UK. People, unemployed people, they can go and register there and they can wait for a job. Advertising is another common method. You can place advertisements in open newspapers, specialist publications, or even online. Right. So job advertisement we are talking about right now. So job advertisement, there are certain things are there in job advertising. As a job title, name, address, email, telephone number of the employer, because contact information must given. At least the email address, brief details of the job description, skills, qualification, and the work experience required for the job, and salary and other benefits, and method of application. So shortlisting is another process. When you're giving the taking the applications, you can shortlist. You can select the best out of best, and you can call them for an interview. So this will reduce the uh, effort and the resources that you're using for interview people, because you can by comparing the applicants, you can easily shortlist. Initial screening you can do that called the shortlisting, and then you can do interview face to face. You can in the interview you can help to clarify the information on the CV, but you can ask the questions from them directly. Assess the personality, motivation, attitudes, commitment, everything. Skills you can assess, and like a body language, the challenge the candidate can asking, searching questions or any how they might deal with the specific work related problems. Everything you can find out. Right. So mainly. These are the methods of advertisement and the recruitment. So that's the end of the third part. Right. And the next thing we talk about is the narration program. We are talking about after recruitment, legal controls of the employer. Legal control. And the legal control will mainly talk about the nature of the equal opportunities, like legislations, like especially like a example of discrimination, like unfair treatments, unequal equal opportunity parts like gender, race, disability, religion, sexual preference, and age, and its impact we talk about. And we talk about the minimum wage legislation and the impact on business. Those parts we talk about here. Legal controls are important because in order to protect the workers and the employers also, both parties have the benefits of legal controls. Therefore, every country there are legal controls. Equal opportunities we talk about, equal opportunity like a discrimination, like kind of a the unfair treatment on the grounds of gender, race, disability, and everything. Right? So gender means, according to that, there are certain the discrimination happen based on gender. Sometimes we call it sex discrimination. So that's why they have given some kind of prescriptions according to law. Do not discriminate like this. For example, advertisements are nowadays are gender less advertisements, like both they are open for men and women. So you can see like International Women's Day also there, right? Like the 8th of March, International Women's Day celebrating world. So like that, that's a really important, empowering women's, like giving more equal opportunities. And refers to work titles, like there are genderless, work titles are genderless. For example, like business could not advertise like a policeman, saleswoman. They are saying that police officer and salesperson. Promotions not be based on the gender, and wages of the staff, same question for both men and women. Same question, same cost, same pay. And they are designing internal documents. We have to think about this. So this is the acts. So act numbers are the only thing that to memorize. So, but names important like Sex Discrimination Act, Equal Pay Act, like that. And also we talk about the other acts such as race and religion acts. So as a result, business cannot prevent employees from wearing the ethnic religious dress such as like wearing turbans, and Muslims wearing burqa, and everything must allow them. And then selection tests must be monitored to ensure their styles not discriminate against the people from minority backgrounds. Um, Business must be taken into account the religious holidays like ethnic groups, and also business cannot refuse the employees to people from particular ethnic or religious group. People must receive awareness of training to encourage adequate treatment of the payment of prevent racial harassments. And also there's another act called Disability Discrimination Act. So that means they have to give some kind of a chances for the disabled people also in the organization. You must give proper accommodation, like facilities for them in your organization. You must give some opportunities for them to work. So access should be like a wheelchair ramps and everything must be there. Like must give them a chance to go for medical appointments such as physiotherapy sessions and everything. And we must all equipment such as telephones and computers and everything to accommodate those with sight to hearing difficulties, and allow more time for training. These things talk about the disabled discrimination. Yeah. And then the other one, especially the Sexual Preference Act, and then according to that you can't discriminate on the people on grounds of LGBTQ rights are there, employment discrimination. So many countries they have different. So country to country it will depend. Some countries they accept these things, but some countries they do not. So sometimes Some country it's a criminal offense. Like for example, it's in 38 out of 55 American states, it's offense still, right? In most of the cases like these things like discrimination, result, harassment, and bullying, that must be stopped. And then age discrimination is another thing. We should not discriminate on the grounds of age also. Like many countries, they have certain age limits for certain jobs, but it would be illegal to not to offer a job on someone because of the grounds of age, right? If you reject someone because of the age, sometimes business could take measures to prevent older workers from being harassed at the workplace. And business can not refuse promotion or training on the grounds of age. In interview, assumptions cannot be made about the ages of candidates. These things are there. So, and also, finally, interests of the business follow the design to prevent the discrimination workplace, right? So if they fail to do so, and if the business organization fail to meet this criteria, sometimes they might be involved in expensive legal battle. Sometimes they fail to recruit or promote the best staff for their post. Sometimes they demotivate certain sections of the workforce and create uncertainty and tension among some staff members. So that's all about the legal part, right? So mainly there are certain advantages, and mainly the minimum wage legislation we're talking about. If you have minimum wage legislations, there are certain reasons government set minimum wage legislations. This is another act, so giving minimum wage, sometimes living wage, minimum wage for the workers, because it benefit the disadvantaged workers, because by exploiting them, reduce the poverty, help the business organization to boost this one. So effects on the impact on the business organization minimum wage, you can see the business will be people you can retain, you can motivate the people, you can like disposable income they can increase, and as a result demand for the business product will increase. So business may be experience low rates of staff absences, so you can retain them in the organization because they are paying good salary, right? That's it. And so that's the fourth lesson. The fifth lesson, we talk about the training part. We talk about here mainly there are three different training techniques: induction training, on-the-job training, and off-job training. So we're going to find out what are those type of training: induction, on-the-job, off-job, and then compliance to health and safety, limitations of training and everything, right? So in the induction training, you have to the workers must be given some chances of them to complete like a tour of workplace, health and safety training, company policies, company history. Like you have to give them some kind of like a general idea about the business in the first day. That's called induction training to mainly to we actually be easily familiarized with that. We talk about this Google internship training and everything. Talk about that like a good video clip also we have watched there, a Google internship program. And then on the job training, there are methods like watching another worker, like it's called copying them and watching, and mentoring like having some coach, and job rotation method that using is kind of like a non-financial motivation also job rotation method that we are using some typical workstations in order to get the information and the trend there. So there are some certain advantages of these things on the job and off job. On job training is this very highly, in normally this time recent past it also the case study came from the on the job off job, and then there was a 9 mark questions can be there in the past paper questions also. We can see so many questions on the job and off job training. So when you're writing for a 9 mark, keep in mind to select one option and write two advantages and two disadvantages of the selected option when you're writing these things. So off-job training also like that. So off-job training happen away from the organization. So there is no output is affected. And there is people will be like they don't distract with the work. So many advantages and disadvantages. It's expensive method of job training. It's a very expensive method. Okay, so we talk about those methods of training and the imports of training, and then benefits of training, like keeping workers up to date, improve their flexibility, improving satisfaction, new jobs, and promotion is very good. But there are limitations as well, like high cost of training and the other resources and the other things, learning by doing sometimes, like simulations, sometimes not practical, because workers do not really start learning how to do the job until they have arrived their workstations. and loss of output during the training time. And bad thing can be happen. The worst thing is employees leaving after training, another arrival. That's the worst thing can be happen. So you are like a training center. Okay, and we talk about the other topic is the final topic is the motivation. So importance of motivation we talk about. Motivation is really important for the people to attract people, easier to attract them, easier to retain them, and also higher labor productivity can be expected as a result of the high motivation. So we talk about several techniques of motivation, like such as financial motivation and financial motivation also. We talk about three motivation theories under that. First one is a motivation Herzberg two-factor theory. We talk about Herzberg, talk about motivators and hygiene factors. Motivators we call ARTRAG, and go through my previous sessions. You can find out what is ARTRAG means acronym. Acronym for hygiene factors is a CSRWS3. CSRWS3, everything is there. Motivators is the only one who give the like a happiness for the workers. Hygiene factor only give just a job satisfaction, so not a motivation. So, and Maslow hierarchy of needs theory we talk about like a pyramid of needs: physiological, safety, social, self-esteem, self-actualization. You can see physiological, safety, social, or love and belonging, esteem needs, self-actualization. This is a Maslow's pyramid of the needs. So we talk about that theory as well, and we talk about the another theory. Frederick Hurst Taylor, right? F.W. Taylor scientific management theory. According to that, he mainly talk about that people are motivated by money. So, and he's recommended these things like a worker should specialist equipment, follow strict procedures, and get breaks, everything. So mainly his main argument is workers are motivated by money, not other than that. So that's a one. And finally, talk about the financial and non-financial motivation techniques, right? So we'll quickly use that part as well. So, revising the financial and non-financial motivation, methods of motivation, we talk about mainly financial motivation or remuneration methods like time rate. We talk about how to calculate time rate. Another one is the piece rate, how to calculate the piece rate method based on the quantity of output. PRP, talk about that performance related pay based on the performance day payment method. And bonus payment we talk about, in addition to salary, they are giving a bonus at the end. And commission methods, especially for sales staff, sales reps, sales executive, they pay commissions based on the amount of sales that they are making. And we talk about the fringe benefits. Fringe benefits can be financial or non-financial, keep in mind, like free counseling, subsidized meal, free accommodation, private health insurance, company car. These are non-financial, but it can give given in a format of a monetary terms, like meal allowance, vehicle allowance, medical allowance, housing allowance, like that. Then it can be a financial benefit. So therefore, it's like a hybrid, like a both methods, depends on the way they are giving for the employee. Right. And we talk about the other main three non-financial methods of motivation. They're talking about main three: job rotation, job enrichment, and autonomy. Yeah. Job rotation means like you are working, changing the workstation, workplace time to time, then reduce the boredom. Job enrichment is a method that you're using, giving them more responsibilities, like a vertical loading for the workers. Then it will, the working life will be more uh, meaningful. And we finally talk about the autonomy, giving more freedom for them, the control in their working life, that's called autonomy, giving workers the authority to take choices, decisions, that's called autonomy. That's also very important method of motivating workers, right? So that's also giving you kind of like a self, like a fulfill, like give you some kind of opportunity for them to motivate. Okay. Yeah, so in my revision program, that's all. Like the organization structure, everything I'm going to discuss in my next session. So, so this topic normal today, actually, the main objective of this session is to actually quickly revise the topic that we discussed in the human resource management, the people management thing. So, I hope you enjoy this session, right? If you enjoy this session, you can actually have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. And okay, so that's it. So thank you very much. See you in my next session. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Okay.